I
Uh,
did a whole preparation for the Thursday night football game. Then I realized,
it was after.
yeah,
Yeah, I scrambled last minute and did like a little brief write up on it. But I liked KC. What'd you say you were on Chargers?
yeah, I took the Chargers kind of last minute, kind of one of those plays where somebody I really trust is on them, and I
Yeah.
kind of lean that way. And I wouldn't say it's a best bet, but I bet it. Can't believe they fucking didn't get points there right before the half like that. I mean, they're going for it on fourth down like crazy. It seems like.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Seeing a lot more of that now. Team, like you said, how 1 and 2 like aren't really dead numbers now. It's like the analytics show going for it, going for 2 point conversions. Just kind of
This
like.
coach, this
Oh,
coach is one of kind of the most progressive guys there are in terms of analytics. He's definitely not like your old school football guy. He's like more of like a football nerd type.
yeah, yeah.
So
What happened? My stream did? Huh. Uh, let me see here. It shows that I'm still on now. Let me see.
he means your screen.
Oh, my screen. Yeah, let's see. I don't know why that happened.
I'm just plagued by. There we go.
There we go. Let me see if I can pull it back. Okay. All right. So, yeah, NFL Week 15. Weird week. I mean, you can't really bet early. Like, I think you only have one best bet, right, Mike?
Yeah, I made my only bet of the week today, and I kind of said in the NFL channel early in the week that you got to be careful betting early in the week this week. But I guess it works both ways. Like you might jump on something and get lucky and have the line move in your favor too. It kind of cuts both ways.
Yeah.
I
Oh no.
guess
Sure.
I guess it just depends on how risk averse you are. Like if you're willing to take chances on that, then
Yeah,
this
for
might.
sure. For me, like, on Monday and Tuesday, a lot of what I'm doing, I'm just like watching the screen, and it's impossible to know what was like real steam or COVID steam because a lot of times, these groups are getting ahead of, um, like the news pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. But
Don't want to get.
there have definitely been waves. Like there's been the first move, and then there's been the second move. It's like I feel like if you can get ahead of that second move, you're in pretty good shape on some of these.
Right, right. What else? Yeah, half the games this week are pretty much big spreads, 9.5 or double digits, and I've talked a lot about like the talent gap, or at least for my power ratings, the difference between the good teams and the bad teams, and then the next couple weeks or this week, then we're gonna have teams with playoff hopes in big spots playing teams whose seasons are over. So I think we're just gonna see a bunch of big spreads, and I don't know.
Yeah, we saw
Really,
it last week too. There's like a top tier of I'd say maybe 5 or 6 teams, and then there's a giant like glut of teams in the
yeah,
middle, like 20 teams that are not more than a couple points apart.
right.
And that's why we see like all these teams that are still in the wild card hunt, even teams that are at the bottom of my power ratings. Like Atlanta is like in the hunt for a playoff spot, which is like just crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a ton of teams that are ranked in between 0 and 1 each way, like basically 10 teams.
Yeah.
Um, so for members who have downloaded the power ratings document that like I'm doing now, basically releasing my own power ratings. I added just a turnover differential. I mean, it's nothing like crazy proprietary, but like I think it's just good to kind of know this late in the season. The turnover differential, and you'll notice. Like, I always say, like, if there was a model, or if someone could come up with a way to not quantify turnovers, but predict, like
Predict.
some
Yeah.
predictive tool for turnovers, I mean, they'd be a millionaire easily because
Yeah.
it's such. If you look at the top teams, like in turnover differential, they're just all the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
know, and a lot of it's random, like especially
r-
fumbles. Well,
yeah,
the data shows anyway that fumbles, especially fumble recoveries, are totally random. But there was a stretch where the Patriots were
Yeah.
always at the top of the league in fumble ratio, fumble basically differential,
Yep.
and they almost never fumbled the ball for years and years. And then when Deflategate happened, people were attributing it to that, and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think it's part of its coaching. I think
Oh,
they practice in bad conditions all the time.
yeah. And the way you tackle, first guy is, second guy to the ball is going for the ball,
Yeah,
punt the ball out, then ball security. Like I feel, tip balls, INTs, and a lot of that stuff is definitely random. But I mean, year after year, like, the top teams in turnover differential are usually, the best teams. So, and then you look at the bottom and teams like Jacksonville, the Jets, they're, um, you know,
yeah.
negative.
Part of it I think is like consistency in the coaching staff. Like when you have the same coach in place and the same program in place year after year, you're able to get to like more details. Like when a
Yeah,
new coach comes in, he's got to put in a new system and start from scratch. When you've got like continuity of a
yeah,
coaching staff,
absolutely.
it's so huge.
And that makes such a good point. Too. Like, think about a new coaching staff, them coming in, all the stuff they have to, they got to cover. They're, not just their beliefs and everything take, probably a couple years to kind of get the team to buy into, their whole idea.
Yeah, I always thought that was such an underrated factor in Brady and Belichick's success. You think about all the top quarterbacks and how many different offensive coordinators, how many different offensive systems they've had over the years, and then Brady had one system, one offensive system. Even though they changed coordinators, they always promoted from within. It was always the
Yeah,
same system for 20 something year or 20 years just about. And you think about the type of like institutional knowledge there is there. Like when him and these assistants know the same play, they can call back to a play they ran 15 years ago in a playoff game
right.
and be on the same page, and with the terminology and just
Yeah.
knowing the playbook in and out. I just always thought
I
that was
love
such a big
those
factor.
behind the scenes, like videos or YouTube videos or whatever, showing Brady and Belichick talking or doing like game
Oh,
break.
I know.
They're so
Yeah,
great.
that video where they talk about Ed Reed. You ever see
Yeah,
that one?
that's the
Yeah.
one I'm thinking about too. But we better stop talking about the Patriots like this because we get so much slack for being homers. But it's really just jealousy from like everybody wishes that was their team, the Patriots.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they better get used to it. There's going to be more of that this week.
I know.
Just
Oh
warming up.
yeah, yeah. I can't wait to get to that game. Because we
I've
got
got a lot. I've got a lot on that game.
yeah.
Like
I mean,
I mean
so
a lot of data and stuff. So
yeah, good because I want to see. It's pretty much the first game we strongly disagree on, like I think we've had all year. But we'll get to that one. It's coming up soon. But let's start right there at the top. We got Saturday games this week, which is new. So the first Saturday, 4:30 game, we got Raiders Browns. Um, both teams are 5-8 against the spread. Both are 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 games, and Browns got hit hard with COVID, especially on the offensive end, and that's the reason for the big adjustment there. Cleveland 6, and now Raiders are 1, I believe it is. Yeah, they're 1 now, starting to pop up, and the total adjusted based on this news too. Open 44, it's down to 38.5, which
isn't it up to 3.5 Raiders? Or just
uh,
one?
I'm seeing 2.5, 1.5, 1 5 times is at 1, but it's juiced. Yeah, it's 2. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I didn't even realize I was at the opener there, that circa. But the
It was
total
3.5 for a little while this afternoon after it was one.
really
It was
for the Raiders.
yeah, yeah,
Wow,
a little bit.
I missed the 3. Are you sure? I don't think it ever
Yeah.
got to 3. The Raiders did.
Uh, on my book, yeah, on my offshore book, yeah.
Wow. Um, I'm seeing the peak right now, 2.5 at most books. But regardless, it basically flipped, and we got the lowest total of the year in this game, 38.5. Right now. Wait a minute. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 38. 38.5. Actually, Bell Line's 37.5. But yeah, I haven't even attempted to adjust my number on this game. I make it 5.5, but there's so much uncertainty here around this game. You know, with Baker being out, but I'd probably be betting the Browns if it was just Baker out because I think Keenum. isn't really a downgrade, but the market adjusts for him, so.
Yeah, and the coach is out too. Stefanski's out.
Yeah, Stefanski. This is actually the second time the Browns have been hit with COVID like this.
Yeah, last year's playoff game, Stefanski uh, wasn't there. Game,
Well,
I think
I
they
think
won.
this year too, right? Didn't they have like a COVID game too?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think you're right.
yeah, I think this is the second time this year. Like I seem like they're getting hit with that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't have much on this game. Like I said, I make it 5.5, but that's Browns 5.5 without like all the adjustments. I mean, the Browns are missing their whole offense. Did we lose you? Um, I think we lost Rich for a second here. I'm sure he'll be back. You back? You back?
hello,
Yeah. Did
hello.
we lose you there for a second?
I guess so. I could hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me,
But
Rich?
yeah.
Oh, hopefully I'm not. I'm still on. I'm gonna check right now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. So
okay. Yeah.
hi, Leslie.
Where are we? Browns Raiders, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so it was kind of funny. We nailed this Browns team last week. Remember, we were talking about them up to. We said we liked it up to 1 or 2, but not at 3, and then they ended up
Yeah.
winning 2.
Winning by 2. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Uh.
no, this is so tough. Like with this, like as a handicapper, right? I kind of rely on data, and there's just not much data on this team without their head coach and without their quarterback.
Right. Right.
And like I said, some people would argue that the books have the same problem, and so it presents kind of an inefficient market and some opportunities. But um, I don't know. It's tough for me to get involved here. Browns are also missing 3 defensive starters because of COVID, 2 in the secondary, so it's not just the quarterback.
Oh yeah, their names are they got big names all over the Landry's gonna miss. And before this COVID news was announced, a really like kind of big what would I call them? Not a group, but like a service basically. They released Raiders +6, and I don't know if it was them beating the COVID news because it was literally like an hour before. So they hit 6, so the line was already starting to move, and then the COVID news broke, and then this number went to went down pretty big. But you know, a lot of offensive line issues with the Browns, not just injuries, but now with COVID, and that happens to be where like the Raiders are good at, putting pressure.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much their only strength really is up front. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not getting involved in this game just because of the uncertainty and. These two teams I always find like agonizing to back. They're two of the most penalized teams in the league, and it's just like betting on them. It's just I don't know. I got to really like them, and I find a lot of times I am on the Browns, but I think it was because I was so high on them before the season too.
So was I.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but let's get to this big one.
All right.
Patriots Colts, our very own New England Patriots. They've won 7 straight now, gives them a 9-4 record, both straight up and against the spread. And what's strange is when I was looking at this game, they the Colts and Patriots, they haven't played a regular season game since 2018, but I feel like they play every year. And then the Colts haven't beat the Patriots since 2009, which
Wow.
it's like I feel like they're like
Well,
schedule.
they used to play in the early Brady days, they were both in the AFC East back before they
Yeah.
realigned the divisions, and then
Right.
for a long time they were both perennial division winners, so they would get matched up on each other's schedule by
Yeah.
virtue of that, but Patriots have, it hasn't been as consistently, they both haven't been consistently division winners lately, so you
Right.
know
Right.
they get more kind of in the every 3-4 year rotation.
So for any members, on the live stream, they obviously can see my screen and watching along here. As of right now, the market looks really good with Indy, and we have somewhat of like a line flip here from the look ahead line. I had the Patriots installed as 2.5 point favorites, but the actual opening line had Indy 1, and yeah, I mean, Rich has a best bet on Indy, which on the Patriots, and I really like Indy. I bet them -130 on the money line, but I noticed you fired away on the Patriots earlier today, so I'll let you kind of
Yeah.
go ahead on this one.
All right. Well, first of all, I think I probably bet it +2 about minutes before it started popping up at 2.5. So
Yeah,
that was a kind of kick in the dick. But
yeah,
no, I got a whole bunch of stuff here why I love the Patriots. You know, they've seemed to be labeled as a run only team lately. I don't know if it's because everyone saw the Monday Night Football game. They can run the ball. Some of that's recency bias about that Monday Night Football game, but if you look at the data, they've actually been a great passing offense since
yeah,
week 4. Since week 4, about the time where this team started to hit its stride. Um, and I think if you're looking at the Patriots, you really got to wait. You really got to weight their numbers more. Their more recent games, weight them more than the early games. It's a rookie quarterback, number one, and
yeah,
Belichick has historically used the first few weeks kind of as an extended preseason. So since week 4, when they started to hit their stride, they're first in the league on EPA per play on dropback plays. So
yeah.
on all pass plays, first in the league EPA per play. Um, and that's since week 4. That we're going on about 11 weeks now.
Yeah, big sample size. Yeah,
Yeah, Colts are 25th in pass rush win rate. Also, since week 4, Colts are first in running play EPA per play on offense, but Patriots are second in the league in run stop win
I
rate.
was just gonna say, yeah, like that's kind of gonna be the I'm kind of expecting both teams to actually kind of abandon the run a little bit in this one.
Yeah, I think you're going to see the Patriots throw the ball a little bit here more than people are anticipating. In terms of total offense, Patriots are fourth in the league in EPA per play since week 4. Mac Jones third in the league in EPA per play since week 4 among quarterbacks. The look ahead line, like you said, was -3. Okay, the Patriots didn't play and the Colts didn't play, and
Yeah,
now the Colts are -2.
yeah,
Nobody played, and this moved 5.5 points. People are trying to kind of capture that high point on the Patriots and sell high. I really believe that's what's going on here. And I'm sure the market analysis shows that there's sharp people on Indy, and I think it's for that reason. I
yeah,
think people are trying to get out on the Patriots at the very top of their market. But I think it's kind of like a risky game to play when you're trying to just kind of find the high point on a team and sell. Especially when I think a lot of the other data supports the Patriots here. My number is Patriots -1.5. I really don't know how you get to the Colts as a favorite here.
yeah,
Patriots are second in the league in defensive EPA per play for the season. They've got a ball hawking secondary. We all know Carson Wentz will give us
yeah,
some balls. Um, and I just think the Pats' run defense, is real solid. Colts love to pound the ball. And I actually like Frank Reich as a coach a lot,
yeah,
but I think the Pats, they've got to have the coaching advantage on every coach in the league, and maybe not in game. Like there are definitely spots where I question Belichick in game decisions, but in terms of game planning, I think they've got a clear edge on everyone. They're coming off a bye here, a great game planning spot for the coaching staff.
Belichick's off
Um,
by.
yeah, so I love the Pats here. I might end if this gets to 3, I'm really gonna love it. And this is a spot I'm already on the edge of upgrading this.
Yeah,
I
it's
just think,
I'm on the verge of making it a best bet, but it's tough when like it's almost like why even bother because it's not like I'm definitely not as high on the Colts as you are as on the Patriots, and like you said, you made the Patriots -1.5, right? Did you say that was your
yeah,
number? Yeah, so
yeah,
I make the Patriots 1. So, again, I don't know how you get to kinda pushing the Colts to 3, but, um, I'm starting to think I have the Patriots rated too high, and it pains me to say it, but, if you look at their, I guess not even just their 7-game win streak, but a lot of their games this season, the Patriots have benefited like a ton from just like circumstances, like opponent injuries or just weather, which I know both
yeah.
teams play in the same conditions or whatever. So you can't really weigh too much weather, but the Patriots defense, they've caught breaks because of the weather. The two best offenses they played, Buffalo and Tampa, were played in really bad weather, eliminated a huge part of both of those teams, like what they like to do offensively. They play in a dome this week, so it kind of eliminates that. And the games where weather wasn't a factor, the Patriots caught teams that weren't 100%. Uh, oh,
Lost you there.
oh, okay. I don't know. I was like, it sounded like an ice tray. But the teams that they played that above average teams, I guess, in regular conditions, the Cowboys and Chargers. I mean, they moved the ball pretty easily. I just think this is going to be the toughest matchup the Patriots have had, basically, I guess, in over 2 months. Indy defense, I think they're going to be able to limit that Patriot running game and force Mac into kind of uncomfortable third downs. And yeah, Colts best run D they'll face. The Colts are the best run D, I guess, since the Saints in early September. Which actually kind of makes me like the over in this spot. Like I was saying, I think both teams pass the ball, but
I like the over a lot here. Actually, I
yeah,
don't bet a ton of totals, but I thought this was opened way too low. Both teams are kind of have underrated offenses. If you just look on their kind of their per play metrics, underrated offenses. I like the more I looked into this when I was kind of looking into the Patriots, a
yeah,
lot of things were pointing towards the over here too.
yeah. And a lot of you guys, like in the community, know I'm working on that sports betting video course, and one of the lesson topics I actually started today is using expected points or expected wins, I should say, and like the Pythagorean theory and stuff like that. And I did a lesson a while ago on this in basketball, but I'm going to do one for NFL. And in preparation for that video, I did like a couple examples, and the Colts were one of them. And they have 7 wins, but based on their point differential, they should be closer to 9. And again, I'm not gonna make the Colts a best bet, even though the strength of my opinion is best bet. But I do have to trust my numbers on this, and a lot of my power rating numbers come from the yards per point. Like that's basically like my baseline, I would say. And
Yeah.
the Patriots yards per point differential is like insanely good when you compare it to the rest of the league. They have a 7 for yards per point differential. So they score 1 point for every 13 yards they gain. But
But let me just tell you though, like I don't weigh that heavily in my
yeah,
ratings, and
yeah,
something that I do weigh pretty heavily is DVOA, or
yeah,
the Football Outsiders
yeah,
metric.
yeah.
And some of the things you were talking about, like the weather, the opponent, a lot of what they do is to try to strip
A
those
little
things
like
out.
that. Yeah,
you know and if you look at weighted DVOA, which I think at this point in the season you really should be looking at weighted DVOA instead of DVOA,
yeah,
it still uses every game, but it weights the very early season September games just a little bit less than the rest. That's all it's doing. It's not eliminating them from your numbers, it's just weighting those a little bit less. And I think if and actually in the history of DVOA, weighted DVOA has been better as like a predictive tool.
right,
you
right.
know so and Patriots are number one in the league in weighted DVOA.
Are they really?
So
I haven't checked.
yeah.
I haven't been on Football Outsider recently, but I think the last time they were like 3 or 4, which I always love seeing. The Patriots up there on like certain power ratings or just rankings,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but definitely should be an interesting one there. I locked in Colts minus 130 or minus 128 or something like that on Tuesday, and obviously, if I really, really liked them, I would have just made him a best bet then. But there's obviously was some hesitation. So
Yeah, and just that the guys listening, like this happens. You know what I mean? Like that the whole idea of like number one, obviously, me and you have disagreed a million times on bets, but just the idea of like there being one sharp side of a bet, it just
that's why.
it's kind of an overblown thing,
Oh
kind
yeah,
of.
totally. Like that's why when you see on social media like this is the sharp side. Like there's so many sharp people, and that they're obviously going to disagree like on pretty much every possible game there is. It's all really about the number. And actually, right now, I mean, if we're talking what's the sharp side, if we're getting to 2.5 range or possibly 3, it's got to be the Patriots. I'm talking more at a pick or kind of straight up. I like the
Yeah, so true. There's no sharp side. It's numbers. It's sharp
yeah,
numbers, and
exactly. But all right, moving right along. We should probably just end the stream now. That's the only game I really care about. But
yeah,
Washington, Philly, and NFC least matchup. Both teams with a 6-7 win-loss record. This line opened with Philly around a field goal as a field goal favorite, and the game's just a mess now. I'm not sure if I read this right, but Washington is on the borderline of being able to even dress 43 players, and I think that's like a rule. You have to have at least 43 available players for a game, and
yeah,
they were already banged up, and now they get the the COVID issue. And I've been reading a lot of like practice reports from like on Twitter from like the beat writers. And yesterday, the Eagles had basically their entire offense, including Hurts, Jalen Hurts, as non-participants. But the thing is with that, which I noticed, and they have to be officially put on the injured list, like when you're a non-participant. But I've realized before, like making a mistake of like kind of jumping to that news is if they do like walkthroughs, like a non-participant in a walkthrough is obviously much different than sitting out a full pads practice. So
Yeah.
I'm really, I don't know, I'm not like weighing that too much, but
I
yeah,
I think Washington's has over 20 guys on the COVID list,
yeah,
and there's some serious clusters too. I think all of their centers are on the COVID list. They're going into this game without a center. Obviously they'll move a guard over or whatever, but
right,
their defensive line, starters and backups, like
yeah,
almost all out. It's kind of
I
an unprecedented situation, like not only since COVID, but kind of in the history of the NFL. Um, to have this many guys ruled out of a game, the Eagles are basically facing like what would be like a week 4 preseason type squad here.
yeah,
There
I
was
just saw Jonathan Allen, like I don't know if that was, I don't know the timestamp on that, but he just tested positive for COVID. I don't know if that was from earlier, but he's like pretty much their best defensive tackle, and he's now looking like he could miss.
yeah, this was I made this 4 right around 4 pre-COVID news. It was at 4.5, I think, and the COVID news started coming in. It was at 7. That's what I mean about the second wave. I think the guys
Yeah.
who grabbed it at 7, that was the spot. I got to say though, I still bet this at -9.5. I took it small, but I just think this is kind of like an unprecedented situation, and it's almost like that game a couple years ago that it was like a Broncos game where they went into it without a quarterback.
Oh,
Um, Against the Saints. Remember that? And it kind of like the line just kept creeping up. And
yeah, it
yeah,
got
so I
17 or something like that, something crazy, I think.
yeah
Um, all right, moving right along. What do we got next? Carolina, Buffalo. I guess Buffalo still hasn't officially named a starter, but the market or the number, I should say, is I
Buffalo
guess
hasn't.
Buffalo. Yeah, they're still undecided. I guess Josh Allen is questionable, or I don't know. They're undecided with a quarterback. I guess
Yeah,
unless like anything changed like recently as of today. But the market isn't really reflecting him being out because I mean the line crossed through 10, and
yeah. I think he's playing.
yeah, I'd imagine he plays. And I wonder actually if when he's officially announced like playing, because I'm sure that's going to happen. Like how much higher does this line go? You know,
Yeah, I kind of think this is the Josh Allen number.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
My number doesn't get there right now, so I mean I'm not sure like what it will be like, and who knows? Maybe he is like I don't know. I haven't seen anything like official as him being the starter, but
yeah.
this is
What do you what do you make this?
what do I have this at? I think it was right around 10. Buffalo, yeah, it's no, yeah, it is 10.
Yeah,
Buffalo home, right? Yeah, so 10. And I'm starting to see 10. Oh no, yeah, 10. And what is it? Buffalo 10.5, and some
10.5.
5 times is
Yeah.
12. Yeah. So yeah, if it gets too much higher, it's not like I'd jump on Carolina. I think they're in a really tough spot here.
Yeah, this is I don't back a lot of big dogs, but this is Bills or nothing for me here. I make this right about 10.5.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting. DVOA, like I mentioned before, the Football Outsider metric, has these two teams as two of the most inconsistent teams in the history of the NFL. And
really,
it makes, what'd you say?
like the variance number? Is
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
their
Okay.
variance number, top
Yeah.
5 all time in variance in
Wow.
DVOA.
Huh.
Um, and that's after the Bills had their most consistent performance all year last week versus Tampa Bay, meaning like
Yeah.
the individual game that was closest to their season DVOA.
Wow.
And that makes sense if you think about this Carolina team. They started off with playing great defense, got some wins,
Yeah.
and they've just been kind of week to week. You can't really predict them. And the Bills too. The Bills have a ton of like blowout wins, and then they've laid a bunch of eggs too. Um, the weather looks pretty mild in Buffalo for mid-December, about 30 degrees, mild winds.
Yep.
Buffalo went from being a Super Bowl favorite in the futures market for a good chunk of the season to now they're a 7-6 team fighting for a wild card spot. Um, I got New England to win the AFC East on November 8th at plus 700. Bills are now plus 300.
Wow.
Yeah. But that variance we talked about, it actually lends itself pretty well to blowouts,
Yeah.
for Buffalo. So
Yeah.
like in a spot like this, I think it lends itself pretty well to covering a big number.
Yeah. See that for sure.
They at the right spots, like at home, good conditions, bad team, and we've seen a bunch of blowouts from them this year. They beat Miami 35-0, 40-0 over Houston, 31-6 more recently at New Orleans.
Coming
Um,
us too, I believe, right? Yeah. Coming
yeah,
off
so
the Rules kind of attempting to save his job here. And now that you say you know, speaking of like the variance, it makes sense too for Carolina. Three different starting quarterbacks this year, and I've been saying this a lot or the past few months about Buffalo that I feel like their numbers are skewed based on their strength of schedule. And they had the easiest strength of schedule the first 10 weeks, and now they're going to have the toughest. And
yeah,
they've lost three out of their last four since week 10, and now their record at 7-6. I feel like that's more aligned with who they are. But now I think that's where the value is on them. That because the market's starting to like kind of catch up to them. You know,
yeah,
so I see like a Buffalo routing here.
yeah. I kind of they're capable of
Yes,
blowouts.
fumble.
What was that?
Someone else talking on the thing.
Oh, that's me, Grady 13, dude, watching the Chiefs game.
Grady, what's up, my man? How you doing?
Dude, I had no idea you could hear me. I mean, maybe you guys know I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, and I've been losing my mind watching this game.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know members could come on. I thought you had to like unlock or something like that. I was
Dude,
like,
that's awesome.
I was thinking it was for a second, like cheering. I was like, that didn't sound like him.
No, yeah, Chiefs just made a goal line stand, the third one of the game. Holy cow!
So did you just log on to the stream, or have
So
you been?
Yeah, so I just got on. I got the notification. I went to live talk, and then it says watch stream, and then I joined that.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's good to have you on, but we're gonna continue on here with this. So we're
Yeah,
not
I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry.
All right, sounds good, my man. All right, well, at least we know that function works now. That you can bring on.
That was awesome.
That was dude. At first, I thought it was you. I was like, well, that was like an outburst, and I was like, I know he's on the chart. So I mean, why would he be cheering for that? But
I know some bad news there for me.
yeah. All right, so moving right along, what game we up to now? I think Jets.
Jets, yeah.
Here, a lot of these games I really could care less about, to be completely honest. Let me
I
see.
know, and we're getting to that point in the season where there's, some.
Yeah, this is a divisional game though. Dolphins are 5-0. Their last five, both straight up and against the spread. And the Jets, no surprise, are 1-6 straight up and against spread. Their last six. Tua looked good last week, and that win over the Giants. And I think if I was involved in any fantasy, I'd be looking at Tua this week because the Jets' pass defense is, I mean, they're just atrocious. They're allowing, I want to say it's 8 yards per pass attempt, and they're tied with Detroit for like the worst in the league.
I've got some extra. I was going to talk about some numbers on since Tua came back fully healthy week 10. They're top 10 in EPA per play and success rate on passing plays. Jets
Wow.
are middle of the road pass rush, and they're 32nd in the league in defensive EPA per play on pass plays.
I was going to say
Yeah. So, like you're saying, Miami. This has been a crazy season. They won their first game against New England, right? Then they lose 7 straight. Tua was out. Brissett looks like he's done.
Right, they lost 8, huh?
7 straight, and now they've won 5 straight.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
And for a long time, when they were on that losing streak, they were being priced as one of the worst teams in the market. And I kept saying it over and over again on the thing that I just did not see them being priced that way. With games. But now they're being priced more accurately, and I think they're getting a little inflated. I make this game just a touch over 7.
Yeah,
and
considering all like the questionable statuses too.
Yeah, this was a touchdown game last time they played, 24-17.
Yeah, Waddle was just
Waddle's out.
I'm pretty sure friggin' Miami has like no running backs, or actually, I don't know. That was early in the week, but I think they could still test and be ready for Sunday's game because Gaskins and Lindsay and there's another dude too. I can't remember his name, but they all had they tested positive for COVID, but they're vaccinated. So I think with that rule, they can kind of if they get 2 positive tests, they could come back. But I'm kind of hoping they are out, so my boy Duke Johnson can get some burn. He's on their practice squad, being basically just buried away over there. I want to see. But yeah, this is another game with a total adjusted way down based on like all this player news. You know, when you're missing that many offensive guys, obviously, the
Yeah.
total go way down. But Jets have a ton of injuries too, and that's what cost them last week. I didn't realize how banged up they were, but it was just too much to overcome for them. Just missing basically like all their skill position players and offensive linemen and stuff. So
Yeah, no, that was a look we kind of liked, and
yeah,
I did anyway, and it
I
was
do. I was.
fucking.
Did we make a I was thinking about this earlier. Did we make I know who was your like official podcast?
Podcast, but it was the Bears. Talk about fucking.
Okay.
Oh my god, that was a they run out to a big lead. Fields
Yeah.
throws a terrible fucking pick six on a on a fucking lollipop of an out,
Yep,
and
I was
then
on the Bears too there. That sucked.
they had 2 chances to backdoor it. Fucking Nagy kicks 3 when they're down 14 or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
something crazy.
I remember seeing you texted me that and it's like that's the worst when, obviously it makes no like why not just go for it if you're him anyway? Like what are you doing kicking 3, you
Yeah.
know? But this is another this Jets Miami game. It's the divisional windy unders are in play there. It looks like some wind there and divisional game, so keep that in mind for the unders in that one. But we'll move right along to the Dallas.
Chargers just scored a touchdown. Something
It's
happened there.
or now, do you know?
21-13 Chargers.
Oh wow! All right, boys and Giants, another divisional game. Cowboys are on the road for their 3rd straight week. It's going to be their 4th road game in 5 weeks. But lucky for them, they get the Giants here, who they should be able to just sleepwalk through. I think Danny Dimes is still not cleared to play, so it's going to be another week with Glennon. And my number on this game is pretty spot on. I think it's 10 right on the dot, and looking like 10.5's pretty much painted.
Mine's 8. I get to about 8 on this one.
Yeah, I was surprised I could actually get to. We talked about having our numbers get to those double digit ranges, but yeah, mine gets there. Unsurprisingly.
Yeah. What do you like anything on this one?
Um, you know, for the I just don't see like if Dallas goes up, say 2 scores, I don't see how the Giants would even keep up. Um,
Yeah. This is
it,
like we kind of talked about. Like you got to be real careful betting these bottom 5 teams late in the season. Like if this is week 6, I'm looking to back these double digit dogs late in the season. These coaches are on the hot seat. Fucking that the teams are out of it. Guys are looking to preserve their bodies for the the off season to get another contract. I mean, it's like you got to be real careful betting these big
yeah,
dogs late in the season.
I feel like Dallas can name the score, but it also is like the divisional aspect is like a kind of a little unique where, even if the Giants have checked out, I feel like this is like a game they get up for. It's almost similar to like if they were playing a primetime game, I feel like they get kind of a little bit more up for these divisional games. But Dallas, they have the running back uncertainty too. I think both Pollard and Elliott are banged up, but then they got the trio of those wide receivers that I feel like that's enough for us.
Yeah,
Anyone.
they actually Prescott has not been playing well since he's been back. They've been kind of getting by on the strength of their defense.
Yeah.
They've shot up to 3rd in DVOA on the Football Outsider metric, but it's mostly on the strength of their defense. They've got a top 3 defense according to DVOA.
Yeah, and I brought that up last week too. I was like surprised that they were top 5 in overall
yeah,
defense.
yeah, they've got some injuries again on offense this week. Tyron Smith,
Yeah,
Cedric Wilson, both on the COVID list.
yeah,
Giants got a bunch of guys in the COVID list too, but there's less key guys. But that just might be because they don't really have any big name
right.
guys on their team.
Yeah, this is a game I probably wouldn't be getting involved in, but if I was, I'd probably go with the quadruple D there, the double digit divisional dog, just for the hell of it. But yeah, I don't know. It's there's so many games this week I pretty much gave up on because of just all the uncertainty and just you can't keep up with all these injuries and COVID. It's a full time job trying to do it. So if there wasn't a game that immediately my power ratings checked off, then game theory, market analysis right away, I pretty much wasn't looking any further.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way too about this game, but I took a little deeper look, and it's dog or nothing here for me.
Yeah,
So far it's a pass, but one area for the Dallas defense that hasn't been great is their run defense, and the Giants might get Barkley out back this week.
yeah,
If he comes back and they kind of go with a ball control kind of offense, and he's able to move the chains, and it could kind of 11 points is a lot for a game like that. If they can
yeah.
turn it into that kind of game script.
Well,
And Dallas really hasn't been getting involved in shootouts like they did early in the season, so it kind of lends itself to
right.
that kind of game.
Yeah, exactly. They're not that team that's going to put up like 30 or 40 anymore now, and they're road weary too. Third straight week on the road. So you
Yeah,
know, I could see back in the double digit home dog here. But haven't pulled anything yet. Really, I only have two bets. I think. No, I have three bets so far this week. One being the official best bet, but the other two are like small bets. It's Colts and
yeah,
the Broncos, and I'm not like rushing to even try to make more. I don't think either, unless. But then again, come Saturday when like the official injury reports out, like which players actually flew to the game, and you kind of get a better idea. Things could change by then.
yeah. I've made two bets. One of them was on that Eagles, just kind of speculative on the Washington roster situation. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Anyway, Packers at Ravens.
Yeah, moving right along. I guess this is like a flexed out game, right? Because it's the
Yeah, the
next
number. Yeah.
8, but it's a 4:25 game. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to look at something here. This line history was all over the place. Look ahead line had Green Bay as a short road favorite of 1.5, and then
Yeah. And
uh,
Jackson got injured.
yeah, so then after what last week's game, then it reopens after that game with Green Bay 7, and that was obviously related to the Lamar Jackson status. But then now the numbers come back down. Lamar's going to start, but now I guess there's uncertainty with Rodgers. So again, this is one of those games that's just all over the place. A lot of uncertainty. I likely won't have anything on this one.
Yeah, I think there's an angle here um, on the Packers. I just think with the Ravens secondary being the way it is, with their injuries, Humphrey's out again, Peters is out again. Some of their depth guys, they got a
Yeah.
safety out. Um, Green Bay, you know, this is not a surprise to anybody, but they're 11-2 ATS against the spread this year.
Wow, I didn't even know that. And usually, like before these, I go through like some of that stuff to kind of like intro the games, and I missed that.
Yeah, 11-2 ATS. This is a stat I've been using a lot. If you guys aren't familiar with this, EPA per play, it basically means expected points added per play. So
Yeah,
what it is it's like evaluating a team on a per play basis. So it takes out a lot of like the field position, turnover, kind of a lot of the randomness of the game, and takes it out of it and just kind of evaluates the team on a per play basis. Um, so offensive EPA per play, Green Bay's second for the season, and they're second on passing plays on EPA per play too.
yeah,
So I mean, no surprise to anyone. They got Aaron Rodgers. They get a great passing offense. It doesn't really seem to matter who's out there running routes. They can pick up, you know, yardage in chunks.
yeah, for sure.
Balt,
And
Baltimore
okay,
missing a bunch of guys out of their secondary. I think there's a
no,
solid angle there. Green
yeah,
Bay's got a solid old line too.
yeah,
I like them to be able to move the ball through the air on this one. I think the number's a little short.
yeah. And I think it adjusted back down because of like the Rogers status. But I'm sensing a theme here. Like I think Rogers is always going to be questionable each week.
Yeah,
At this
yeah.
point, but
At
yeah.
his age, that's kind of a thing with quarterbacks. They're always tied up now.
Oh, really? Was that
Yeah.
just a 2-score game?
It was an 8-point game.
Oh, but another thing too, like, I'm probably like only gonna have one official best bet for this game as of now. I mean, it's still a couple days away, but One of the tough things, like I was just thinking about when we were talking about the best bets, where you only have one, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so, but like official best bets, I guess, is like the key word because like when we post the best bets, there's kind of restrictions, I guess, with it. We have to like post it when the line's widely available, and you know, a
that's
lot
true. Yeah,
a lot of my betting revolves around like beating line moves. And like I'm not saying this is what I'm looking for in this particular spot or this game, but for an example, like say Rogers gets announced as the starter. The current line's Green Bay 5.5. Rogers' status, which I believe he's going to play anyway, but it's in question now. He gets announced as a starter. The line goes up to 7. Say if I catch that Green Bay -5.5 or even -6, I'm not going to go and post that as a best bet.
right.
When the rest of the members go and look and see it's 7, like and that's obviously an extreme case kind of, but there's times I pick off the right side of 3, or get +3 when most books have +2.5. And if I posted all those situations like throughout the year, I'd have a really good record, but it wouldn't translate to money actually won for people following along. And that's honestly like the only reason, like that's like the only thing I really care about when I'm posting a best bet, is that not only do I win money, but people following it wins. So that's
Yeah. How about though in other situations where it's not like a stale number? Do you find that there's a lot of games that you bet that you don't post as best bet?
wait, say that again. I think
Like just all right, so not that situation, like not a stale number situation, but just games that you bet but you don't feel, I guess, strongly enough about to make it a best bet. Does that happen?
oh yeah, for sure. Like it like you know people that like follow in the community, they probably think I'm like super selective, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, like I mean, I'll probably have like, I don't know, 7 or 10 bets on like any given Sunday, or maybe like just on a night, but I'll only have maybe 2 official best bets. So yeah, there's definitely like a whole like best bets have way more weight to them. Like for me, like the meaning, it's like I always say, like it's one thing like me losing my own money. It's another thing when I'm like I take a loss and then people that followed me lost. So a best bet has like a whole different stratosphere of like confidence level in them.
Yeah. For me anyway, in the NFL, I kind of find that almost every game I bet in the NFL, I post as a best bet. Uh,
Yeah, I noticed
eh,
that too. Like you're because like I'll ask you who you're on Sunday, and it will be like the best bets.
yeah, I mean there'll be weeks like this where I'm kind of short on action, and I'm fine with that. But you know, at this time of the year, it kind of gets like that. If you scroll back and you look back to week, 5, 6, I was firing away 5, 6 bets on a
Yeah,
week.
right.
Um,
I want to confirm more stronger positions. It's just I'm finding it like tough to, and going back to that, like I'm fine with like taking kind of flyers like on my own, but official best bets, it's a little tough. I don't want to walk people into just like kind of half-ass bets, in other words.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I was a little more selective last week. I kind of preach like don't fire away on Sundays, and I got a
Yeah,
couple late confirmations on bets that I liked on Sunday, and I said
yeah,
fuck it. And
yeah. You had really late ones with the Bears was one, and there was another one that was like
Raiders,
it's-
Raiders later third.
yeah,
Yeah,
those are ones you wish you had back, I'm sure, regardless of the outcome.
yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving here. What do we got next? Tennessee,
Titans. Yeah,
Tennessee, and Steelers here.
Steelers.
This is a game. Actually, this is one of the games I did bet. I bet this game. I have Pitt +1. I missed
Yeah, I
getting.
like that side too.
I bet I talked about it in the community. I don't know if it was Tuesday, but I ended up betting it right after, and I almost posted Pitt as a best bet like a couple different times throughout the past 2 days, and I'm just hesitant, not for any particular reason, but um, this is basically Pitt's season on the line here, and everything matches up for me on Pitt. Uh, if we look at the market here, market looks really strong on Pitt. Game theory checks off, and I guess I'm kind of just looking for like definitive confirmation if I was to make this a best bet. What do you got here, Rich?
I My numbers basically at a pick. I just like
Yeah.
the spot here for Pittsburgh a little better. Titans have just not, they might be the softest 9-4 team ever. Can you believe they're 9-4? I mean,
and I think I have them a negative rating, I want to say.
Yeah, no, they flipped for me into the negative side of 0, and they're second, 22nd in EPA per play on offense since Henry went down with an injury, and it's been a while now. That's a good sample size too. They had a good pass rush early in the season. They've regressed to league average on pass rush win rate since then, and they're kind of a short dog, or I think it's actually moved to a pick 'em now, but. If you look at the Steelers under Tomlin as a dog and at home, as a dog and at home, just separately, large sample size at this point. He's been their coach for a long time. They cover spreads as dogs and at home under Tomlin, and you get them at a home dog. It's kind of doubly, and they're a short dog here, but I'm sorry, what?
I have a system, I think, on that exact situation, like Tomlin at home. As a dog, maybe, or maybe it's a prime time too. Like there's a situation where Tomlin's like insanely good, like 70% range.
Yeah, and motivational edge goes to Steelers here. Titans are somehow 9-4 and have a firm grip on their division. And Steelers are kind of every week playing for their playoff lives. So
this Titans offense is just it's bad. It's in trouble. I mean, the last. Or 4 straight games now, they've basically done nothing. They scored 13 versus the Texans, who they allow 27 points per game or over 27 points per game. Put up 20 last week against Jacksonville. But Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks in that game, so they got 4 extra possessions and only managed 20 points. And they had less than 300 total yards, I believe. And that's a defense that ranks 29th. I know I'm in for like a rough, like aggravating sweat with this one with Pitt. They're just that kind of team, but I'm pretty confident that Pitt's defense can hold the Titans down. They're still without A.J. Brown, I think, too, right? But you know what? Actually, if we're going to do like official podcast plays, I'm going to make Pitt the official podcast play, I think.
Yeah, let's both do it. Let's make it all.
All right, cool. So we'll go with. And maybe like the members that that are listening can kind of keep track or hold us accountable, because I don't even remember if I had one last week. I'll have to go back.
I don't think so. Yeah. We can just make
let's
one.
Hammer it.
Oh Jesus!
Sorry, boys. Continue.
Let's hammer it. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, hammer it. I'm down. I like them. The number makes no difference to me now either. +1 or a pick or whatever. It's just having them win outright.
Yeah, touchdown Chargers. I got them on a teaser with the Patriots, and back when it was 1.5 or whatever, so that I teased them both up around 8, which kind of these are good Wong teaser numbers.
Wong, I noticed that too.
Yeah. All right.
Right along, I guess here. What do we got next? Houston, Jacksonville. These are actually 2 teams. Titans,
This one's one for the NFL films.
Yeah, right. But actually, these are 2 teams that held the Titans offense in check the past, or I think not the past 2 weeks, past 2 out of 3 weeks, but both share the same record of 2-11. Where do you have these 2 rated? I have these 2 teams rated as the lowest in my power ratings.
My power ratings right now, Houston's the bottom, and I think Detroit is second to bottom. Jacksonville's, bottom 4. These are, they're kind of, their record is the same, but I think there's a clear difference between these teams. I think
absolutely. I was just
Texans are historically bad. It's Houston is, when you look at the metrics, they're dead last in offensive EPA per play. Yeah. But then when you break it down into rushing and passing, they're dead last in both of those too. This offense is historically bad. And then even on defense, they're dead last in defensive success rate.
Bad. I'm looking at some of their numbers now on my laptop. Like you said, success rate, net yards per play. They're just it's like there's not one even close to them.
And you know what? I kind of like this firing of Urban Meyer. Man, what a piece of shit he turned out to be, huh? The fucking guy, like he, all the shit that came out this year about him, he kicked a kicker.
What, like on his team?
Yeah, he kicked Josh Lambo early in the season, and apparently he had this thing where he wouldn't call specialists like punters and kickers by their names. He would call them punter or kicker, and like just total fucking like old school kind of dick moves.
That's historically, there's like a bump that you can give in performance to teams that fire like a hated head coach.
Oh yeah, we looked into that system in the past. You remember
Yep.
the team coming off the firing?
Yeah, and there's probably not a coach that's like, I can't even think of like a more publicly hated head coach than this dude. Trevor Lawrence basically got him canned in the press conference 2 days ago.
Yeah,
His comments about him.
God, he destroyed his image. I mean, he didn't last a full year and
Yeah,
on a 5-year contract.
that's right.
These
Contract.
these college coaches to the NFL, they just never work out. I don't know why anyone still does it. They almost never work out. These guys come in with huge egos. They don't know how to treat professionals. These are grown men, professionals at their sport, and
Yep.
they're treating them like high school kids. You
And
know,
so that adjustment doesn't work. Like going right from college to the head coach. Like obviously, like if they have a different position coach and then kind of like move up through a team, but that jump does not work.
no.
Um,
Yeah, so I think there's a little value on Jacksonville here. My
yeah,
number doesn't say it, but just situationally, I
yeah.
like it a little bit.
There's a ton of spots this week where, and that's probably why I don't have many bets, is my number doesn't show like it being a bet, but situationally or circumstance or just whatever, even like injuries.
Right.
And I had Jacksonville and the under circled pretty much at like the beginning of the week, but both numbers are pretty much long gone now. I didn't bet them, but like you said, Jags are much better team when looking at like advanced metrics. But
We've got like 7 games left to go through here. We're fucking
yeah,
moving at a glacial pace here.
and it doesn't seem like we are, but
No, but it's what it is. There's no more bye weeks.
that's right. There's that many. Okay, so Arizona, Detroit. A lot of these games coming up will be quick because I personally don't have shit on them, but Arizona, Detroit, both teams coming off losses, which is usually the case for Detroit. But they were able to say coming off a win, I guess, going into last week's game against the Broncos, who dismantled them. That last week was my big regret, is not making Denver a best bet. And I thought I made them like the podcast play. That was probably just in my mind after the fact. But
So you're saying you wish you bet on the team that won by 35?
well, exactly. Like it's just like it was one of those where I did bet them. It was like I don't know why I didn't post it as a best, but they were double digit.
Yeah, no, you talked about it. I thought it was a best bet for you. I think I remember texting you saying like, "Hey, 3-0 day for you," because I thought Denver was a best bet for you. Remember that?
Yeah, and I probably told you about it, but I never actually pulled the trigger. But I don't know. You have anything in this game? Lions are decimated with injuries, so
Yeah, my number doesn't get to 13.5. It's like 4 points short of that, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. Arizona's better on the road than they are at home this
oh,
year. It's what do you say?
Arizona 7-0 against the spread on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's one of these late season spots where I just can't back a shitty team here against a team that's fighting for playoff seeding and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. I make this game 11, and it's looking like 14 is going to be the closing number. But Arizona, they can name their score here if they want, of course. Coming
If
off,
it got to 14, I actually might not. I might look at the Lions. Yeah, I thought that it was at 12.5 earlier.
yeah, 5 dimes and ace, which is like kind of like a paper head skin. I have a book that uses ace. It's 14, but it's one of those juiced 14s where you
Juice.
minus 14 at plus 115. But yeah, it's not rushing to back Detroit plus 2 touchdowns. But all right, finally, Atlanta San Fran, a game I do have.
Yeah, I saw that you like this as a best bet, and it's funny because this is one of the few times where my numbers do get to a big number like this. I have the Niners minus 12 here by my
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah, I got like I have it 12 too. I have it exactly 12.
Wow.
Yeah. Falcons though, like you brought up last week, the sneaky 6-7.
Yeah.
San Fran, they're 7-6. Both teams are 6-7 against the spread. Uh, Falcons, they're another team that I ran like the expected wins on, based on like just point differential. No team has overachieved more than the Falcons. They have two full wins more than their expected wins, and San Fran's actually below their expected wins.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes sense to me. San Francisco seems like a much better team than 7-6, and
Yeah,
Atlanta at times this year, for a good chunk of the year, has been the bottom team in my ratings, and yet they're 6-7.
yeah, right. When you brought that up last week too, it dawned on me because I had them second to last in my ratings, only to Houston. Or maybe that was 3 weeks ago. I can't remember, but yeah, and then their record, there's the same against the spread as San Fran, but so literally this week when I ran the numbers, my number got there. Game theory checks off, and the market agrees. So it just was like an obvious, clear best bet. And the Falcons, they're a team that are good against like those below average teams, but they get exposed versus the good teams. Their wins are against like I don't know off the top of my head, but I know like Jacksonville,
Yeah,
Giants,
they
Jets.
have done well against the other shitty teams.
Yeah. So
One thing though, I got to point out here, someone pointed it out to me, 49ers under Shanahan have not covered big spreads. For whatever reason, even at home, they haven't done well as big favorites.
I'd
Mahomes
like
going to run this in for a touchdown.
I
Oop.
believe it, but I'd like to back test it too to see like exactly how bad because I kind of think Shanahan is a little overrated. He's only got that
Yeah,
one season, you know.
yeah, I agree. He's kind of like a media darling. Wow, Mahomes just broke off like a 35-yard run here. It's under 2 minutes. This game is. I'm
In the
sure all the guys are watching.
yeah, what
Uh,
under 2 minutes in the game, right?
Yeah, and Chargers up by 7. Mahomes just took it inside the 10 with like a 35-yard run.
Oh, so that's good. No one's probably listening to this. Um, so
Go Chiefs.
last week when you called
Touchdown.
did they just score? Yeah.
Yeah.
Last
Go
week
for
when
two. Go for two, you assholes.
don't
Uh,
I got KC. So when you called San Fran like an offensive juggernaut last
yeah.
week, I was like, I kind of paused because I was like, offensive juggernaut. That's like a strong word, but after the stream, like I saw what you were talking about. Net yards per play, like 10th, net success rate 8th, I believe. I don't have it written down, but
Yeah,
what?
well, it was like since week 5, since they got Jimmy G back. I think that's what I was talking about.
Oh, that's what I
And
mean. So for the course of a season, they're like top 10, but with your filter added in, they're obviously they're better than that too because they started off kind of sluggish.
yeah, they did. And the other thing I think we talked about last year was the importance of having Kittle back.
Yeah,
I mean, the last 2 weeks alone, he's been huge in these games.
yeah. Jimmy
Uh,
G, I feel like he's not getting the respect or kind of like the praise for the year he's having. You're big into
yeah,
like A and stuff, and EPA plus completion percentage over expectation. He's tied with Stafford. He's just behind Brady and Rogers. So
when
uh,
he's healthy, he's real good. He brought a team to a Super Bowl just 2 years
right,
ago. So,
yeah. But huge divide between these two teams. But the odds makers, I feel like just can't get to that number based on kind of like you said their record and like a little bit of the perception. Um,
yeah.
but this should have opened double digits. San Fran's a full yard better in yards per play. Atlanta, they're bottom 7 on both offense and defense. San Fran's top 10. So I like the over in this one too. That's getting a little steam. It's up from 45 to 46, but San Fran best bet there for sure. Moving right along, we got Bengals Broncos, both teams 7-6. Cincy coming back down to earth. They've lost 2 straight, I believe it is. The market seems to start is kind of like lost its support for Cincy. At least the numbers have. Cincy's getting bets right now, but and this line flipped from the look ahead. Cincy before last week's game was listed as a 3-point favorite. Now looks like they might close as a 3-point dog. But I
Yeah.
have both teams pretty much rated like the same.
Yeah.
With Denver, my actual numbers Denver 1-point favorite at home here.
Yeah, I actually have them about a 2-point favorite, but I actually like the spot better than that.
Yeah,
Um, I but this is one of the things where I might have missed the boat. I loved it at -1, and now it's up. Last I checked was 2.5, and the 2.5 was pretty juiced, pretty close to 3.
Yeah, they're
Um,
gonna close at 3.
yeah, so the one thing on Denver, I talked to some sharp guys who they actually, and they're like me, who they were real down on the Bengals all year, but they actually like them in this spot. Denver is one of those teams. They played well against bad teams, and like last week they blew out Detroit, and now they end up a short favorite here against a playoff contender like Cincy. Might be overvalued a little bit here. But somebody in the market definitely likes Denver. Some big money gave this one a push up from 1.5 for one all the way up to a pricey 2.5.
Yeah,
Um,
Denver is like kind of one of those sharp like the sharps like Denver, at least like the past month.
yeah, yeah, and I there's I think just watching Cincinnati as a team, there's some things I like about Denver here.
Yeah,
Zach Taylor, I think, is one of the worst coaches in the league. Cincinnati's coach. He's just loves to run the ball on predictable rundowns, like early downs. Last week against Cincinnati, he ran it on early downs all game until they got down by 2 scores, and then he finally started throwing the ball, and that's when they started picking up big chunks, and they ended up tying the game up.
yeah,
Um, but you got to look into that a little deeper. San Francisco's middle of the road pass defense, so it makes sense they'd allow some yardage through the air. But Denver, on the other hand, is top 10 in defensive EPA per play on passing plays, and
yep.
6th in success rate per passing on passing plays. Cincinnati's 31st in pass block win rate.
Wow.
But Denver, on the other hand, Denver doesn't really rush the passer as well as they did before they shipped Von Miller out. So,
Right.
but yeah, there's some things here to like about Denver. I'm kind of leaning Denver. Like I said, I feel like I missed the boat a little bit, but still lean that way.
I'm with you there. I definitely lean Denver. I'm not sure at the current number. Really like Denver's defense. The only note like I have here on the game is Denver being number 3 in defensive yards per point, which makes me kind of like them, but just based because Cincy's offense is kind of sputtering a little bit, but nothing official there. But moving right along, we're into
Keenan Allen just got tackled running
no
free.
no call.
No call. I mean, that call has come against me about a million times. I guess he didn't get tackled, but he tripped. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
4:25 game, Seattle, LA divisional game. Both teams coming off of 2 straight wins after having 3 straight losses. These 2 teams played back in October. Rams won 26-17. And that game was in Seattle. I'm missing something in this game because my number's way off on this game. My number now is where the opener was with Rams 7. So I'm not sure why the line's down to 4.5. I know.
Yeah. There's some
Seattle,
COVID stuff with the
oh,
Rams.
okay, that makes sense. Seattle,
And
go ahead.
go ahead, sorry.
I was going to
All
say
right, no.
Seattle wide receiver. Wide receiver is questionable, but like Metcalf and the other guy.
Lockett.
Yeah,
Yeah. Seattle, though, it's kind of interesting. They've been one of the teams that's been able to kind of avoid COVID more than any other team throughout this whole thing.
really.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you look at this stuff. It's like you gotta, these staffs, not even like football operations staff, but these staffs matter. Like your HR people, that just kind of goes to like an organizational kind of win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When you've got everyone in the building on the same page, keeping the people healthy and preventive measures and all that stuff. To me, I like the Rams a little bit here too. But the thing you got to keep in mind, anytime these NFC West divisional matchups have gotten above a field goal, it's just like you've
I
got to
know.
take the dog. It's like these teams are so close. They're all pretty good teams. I ran the numbers, and if you just took the dog anytime it got up over a field goal in these divisional NFC West matchups, you're winning money.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
see that too. Just in division too, those like, 1 score dogs. Not even just in division, but just in the league in general too right now. But at least this
yeah.
year. You know? But all right, Sunday Night Football, I believe, is the next one. Saints Bucks. Divisional games. Saints getting some market support here. It looks like 64% of the bets. The money's a little split. Kind of surprising to see the Saints getting that many bets right now, but Maybe people are hearing me talk about the quadruple double-digit divisional dog.
Got to
But
be it. I lean Saints here. I think if you just look at the way Tampa has played against the Saints since Brady's been there,
yeah,
they've kind of been a little thorn in their side. They've played almost exclusively close games against the Saints. Even when the Saints have had weird quarterback situations, these games have been close. The Saints defense is a kind of sneaky good defense. They've kind of been
yeah,
able to keep these close. But it's tough. I've got Tampa as the best team in the league in my ratings
yeah.
and in some of the metrics that I weigh pretty heavily. Um,
What do you make
but
what's your raw power rating number on it?
on the game, it's a 9.7.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I get to 12 on this one, surprisingly, but I still I like the Saints here, even though 12 is actually above what the market has right now. But that's just because
yeah,
I have Tampa Bay so good, or just so much,
yeah,
they've just been
yeah.
upgraded every week,
They've
and
been, they were like a crazy variance team last year, but they've been so consistent this year.
yeah, Saints put up 30 last week, but they couldn't pass at all. They had no success passing the ball. So I'm curious to see, if they can, pound the rock against the Bucks run defense, because the way I think they beat the Bucks is passing it downfield, and that's something like the Saints can't really do, I don't think. But if I had to bet this game, definitely Saints. Too many points in a divisional game with all that familiarity, like you were talking about.
Yeah,
But all right, let's finish this one up here. We got the Monday night game, an NFC Norris division. Remember when they used to call it the Norris division?
I love that. You know why they call it that?
Was it has anything to do with Chuck Norris and how
No,
fit?
it's named after the hockey division that's in
That's
the
right.
same area.
Yeah, that's right. But I did see something one time on that, like the NFC North being such a physical division, they named it the Norris. Obviously, it's not true, but they named it after Chuck Norris because of how physical it used to be.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be even better when Tampa used to be in the division back when they were like the Gruden Bucks, in like the late
Oh,
'90s,
yeah.
early 2000s. So
They were in the NFC North.
yeah, yeah, the divisions were really weird for a
Yeah,
while, and they made no sense for a while. And
yeah,
like it's like Dallas being in the East. They're not in the East, but just their traditional rivals, division rivals, have been the Redskins and the Eagles and the Giants, so they just kept them there.
right, right.
Um,
My memory, and I grew up with that, but my memory is just so bad. I think of it in 5 year spans. Anything outside of 5 years, I don't remember. But yeah, these teams, they haven't played each other this year, I don't think, right? And so they must have another game coming up, quickly with the next 4 weeks. But looks like Minnesota money all the way here, money and bets, from a market perspective, and the odds makers are adjusting for it. Opened around 3.5, now it looks like 5.5, which is somewhat in that dead zone. It hasn't got to 6 yet, but yeah, nothing really here for me at this one. This one,
no, I make this short of 3, and we're up 5.5 now.
yeah,
But fuck if I'm gonna back the Bears again this year.
yeah, right at that. I mean, that was a lot kind of matched up. I bet the Bears, and a lot matched up for them too. That probably could have been like a bigger position for me, and I'm glad I didn't, because like I was saying in the stream last week, I'm kind of fed up with backing like teams with a losing record, or just below average teams, and that kind of saved me a little bit.
Yeah, they gotta get Nagy. I mean, this guy, they can't get this guy out of there soon enough. And maybe it's not his fault. I don't know, but they kind of backed the wrong horse with this Fields. I think that's
Yeah,
just not looking good early. Early returns are not good.
yeah, I was wrong there. I kind of liked him coming into the
I
year,
did. I was like, hey, Patriots, go get him.
right?
But fuck do I know?
Thank God they went with Mac Jones.
I know.
But all right, that's gonna wrap it up. Hopefully, you guys got something out of this one. We will
We're
be.
gonna we're gonna
We'll
skip
be back.
story time this week. We'll save it for another day.
What's it? Oh, the story? No, let's do that real quick. The bookie story. I
Uh,
totally forgot about that.
we could do it. Let's do it next week.
Let's
Let's
okay do it next week. Yeah, we'll build up some anticipation there because it is a good one, but it's getting late.
Yeah.
We started late, but all right, guys. Until next time. Good luck with all your bets.